Arsene Lupin, the gentleman thief, was a character created by Maurice Leblanc, whose stories were published in the French pulp magazine Je sais tout. Lupin became the inspiration for a whole archetype known as Phantom Thief, and became part of our collective imagination, going off to inspire several other characters. But sometimes reality can exceed fiction. In 1958, the city of Torreon in the Mexican state of Coahuila, state located right under Texas, there were crimes committed so neatly with little to no evidence left, and no one alerted. It put local police in entire Laguna County on a wild goose chase that had already extended throughout the whole nation by that point. And even when the culprit was identified and restrained, he would sneak from right under the authorities' noses without them even realizing it. It was the latest in a wave of impossible crimes that had been occurring throughout Mexico for the then past 80 years. The story I'm about to tell you is not a movie. The story of Santiago Reyes Quezada, better known in Mexico as the Phantom Captain. Santiago Reyes Quezada was born in 1922 and, according to some sources, was an American born in Los Angeles, California, although some accounts refute this, claiming his birthplace to be the Mexican city of Tampico. Blue-eyed and of fair skin, his parents were the carpenter Luis Reyes and the housewife Maria Quezada. In 1938, at the age of 15, he began his life of theft, stealing car accessories, until he was detained by the Tampico police force in the state of Tamaulipas. Back then, he was known as El Jimmy in the region. In the 60 days he spent in jail, he worked in carpentry, learning cabinet making, and escaped prison without anyone realizing what had happened. It'd be the first of many successful escapes, and he swore, quote, "I will never put a foot inside that dungeon ever again." Of course, he was still a kid at the time, and later he was stealing from a general store with an accomplice known as El Rizos, the hair curls in Spanish. However, later that year, in October 1938, Santiago and El Rizos escaped through a thin, humid hallway in the prison they were held in. They broke a few windows and escaped. Either they were the world's most careful crystal breakers to not make a sound, or they just escaped because Mexico. He escaped to Mexico City and enrolled into elementary school. He developed a passion for literature and made money by working at an outdoors market. But his path in life was already set. His relationship with the people at the market led him to gambling through poker and domino. As he became a teenager, he began frequenting billiard bars in his spare time, and drank in miserable bars, often visited by former prisoners from the Lecumberri Black Palace. There he made his first contact with prostitutes, drugs, and unaffiliated himself from his former friends. He escalated from being a home and business invader by breaking windows to lockpicking, and, in March 1939, at the age of 16, he was detained by the local police of Mexico City. He was locked in Lecumberri and later translated to a prison for underage criminals where, one day, alongside another prisoner, he broke out once more through the front door, hiding among other visitors. History will keep repeating itself. He'd be caught, and then he'd break out unidentified. During Christmas Eve 1945, he flat out just waited for everyone to fall asleep and walked out of his cell. In the late 40s, he began his thefts while dressed as an army captain. As his ability to steal, to enter and exit from places to loot, using set custom and looks to go unnoticed from any other military man, he went from being called El Jimmy and became the Phantom Captain. The reason to this name is due to his more intricate crimes that were committed while dressed as a military captain, adorned with a very convincing uniform and medals, while being called a phantom as a result of his uncanny ability to escape from the grasp of law. In 1948, he was caught while still posing as a military captain and was taken to Lecumberri. He managed to bribe people inside and, with his carpentry knowledge, he made his escape by February of 1950. And, I am not joking, this is how he did it. He made a wooden children's cart with a hidden compartment where he hid and managed to escape in it, pulled by a child. In 1951, he got caught again after getting into a fight. But despite being put under special watch, he got away by the next year. His fame began to increase as a phantom thief, as someone who, despite being caught over and over, he will escape and reunite once more with his loot. His crimes extended throughout the entirety of Mexico and even southernmost Texas. He managed to break into essentially any place and most times go out undetected. One time though, he got detected and was shot. He was taken to emergency care to a general hospital, and yet he still managed to escape that very night. His wife, Maria Luisa Monroy, actually helped him with his escapes. At one point, he managed to steal from Governor Horacio Terán's home by hiding within a space in wooden furniture. I do not know what they're called in English. In Spanish they're called cantinitas. Wine and champagne cups go inside them. So, within one, he got inside the governor's house, looted the place, and escaped through a fake bottom chest that was taken out later that day. His fame and popularity increased as he made the authorities look more and more incompetent. In 1957, he was caught while driving a luxury car with 2 women accompanying him, and he escaped again by cutting off the bars at his prison cell. 2 weeks after his escape, in Torreon, Coahuila, he stole everything made from silver from the general drugstore Luciana, and later broke into the then famous luxury store Casa de Vidrio, where he got away with 60,000 pesos adjusted to inflation. That is over 3,000 current day dollars. By July 18, 1959, he was wounded in the legs during a gunfight against authorities. In prison, he stopped eating and lost weight to a point of near death, where he had to be sent to a civilian hospital, where he managed to escape again. He managed to be free for 2 months, but he was betrayed in Monterrey by a former policeman, who handed him over to authorities for the reward. He was sent to a maximum security prison in the state of Nuevo León, which had a then state-of-the-art vigilance system, Gatling guns mounted from watchtowers, electrified fences, telescopes. The authorities promised he won't escape again. There is no prize for guessing that he escaped again inside another wooden furniture he built. In Orizaba, located in the state of Veracruz, he stole expensive jewelry. He made many friends who'd keep watch and warn him when police was nearby, and hired a prostitute to hide him in exchange of jewelry. He did the same in Puebla after he got bored of Veracruz. In Puebla, in 1964, he actually managed to break into the home of Governor Aarón Merino Fernández and ran off with a loot of around 2.5 million pesos. By this point, things were beyond absurd, so the Mexican authorities actually had to request help to the American FBI to catch the Phantom Captain. Wanted signs were put up on the border, and authorities in Laredo, Texas were ordered to remain in max alert, stating that he was wanted for theft and homicide. But the captain was far from Texas. In November 22, 1964, a detective from Puebla managed to arrest him. They took away his caliber .38 pistol and 35 bullets. In the stolen car he was riding, they found 300,000 pesos in jewelry, but not even a single cent in his pockets. The captain claimed he hadn't even eaten. He was taken to a prison San Juan de Dios, where he was locked in until 1971. However, in 1968, he killed a fellow inmate by stabbing him and tried to escape using a ladder, but this time he failed. In 1971, he was taken to a Puebla penitentiary, which was a replica of the prison of Cincinnati. The authorities managed to keep him locked for 11 years. His health deteriorated. He began going blind, got ulcers, tuberculosis, diabetes, and other degenerative issues. He was taken to a university hospital in November 1981, and in January 2nd, 1982, he attempted his final escape by using a rope to a window, but in his weakened state, he lost his grip and fell 2.5 meters. He broke his legs and managed to crawl to a dumpster. Among the garbage, he lost his consciousness. Medical interns found him, and took him back inside. People found out he got the rope from a crooked cop, Enrique Leiva Castro, who sold it to him for 20,000 pesos. This was his last attempt, as his health got worse, and in February 1982, the Phantom Captain could not escape death.